Well, good morning, folks. Today is Wednesday, the 18th. It's the 18th, right, of February. We're smack dab in the middle of the month here, and we have rainfall coming in along the west coast here, with some attendant thunderstorms here possible. Never mind. That isn't supposed to be there. I don't know why it's still there. Anyway, we got snowfall up into North Dakota, the parts of the northern U.S. with some rainfall. And freezing precip, pretty warm temperatures here, right? If we switch the temperatures real quick, 30s, 40s, 60s, 50s, all the way up in the northern part of the country here, with the exception of in the Montana area, the state of Montana, where it's the backside of this low is bringing some colder air back down. Anyway, good morning. My name is Tim Ayler, meteorologist. I hope you're doing well. Like I said, appreciate y'all watching. Like my video if you like it, subscribe. Leave any comments or questions in the comments below. And appreciate y'all watching, like I said, and let's get started with the current hazards. So we got a lot of hazards on the map still today. Red flag warnings and high winds are all over the place here, and parts of the southern plains into the desert southwest, covering a good portion of the Four Corners region, up into the northern plains, even into the south central U.S. here, right along Mississippi River. Looks like high wind advisory, right? We got our winter weather advisory up here in the northeast, dense fog, right underneath that with the moisture there. Winter storm warnings up to the north, the far northern part of the U.S. Winter storm watches, winter weather winter weather advisory here with high winds and a blizzard warning in some areas as well this morning. Out west, we just have an abundance of different products out here. High wind warnings, wind advisories, um, flood watches along the California coast, and other different wind advisories, right? And also some winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. Just a lot of stuff going on out west right now. And this will shift to the east in time, and then we'll get a little bit of a breakout here. And then further on, we'll get some returning moisture back to the west coast. So rain chances increase this weekend, right? And we know this. We know the temperatures. One thing we do know, temperatures are going to warm up quite a bit here. Metro Atlanta high and low temperature forecast calls for temperatures reaching the mid to upper 70s, and warmer points to the south. But and rain chances increase here over the weekend, Friday into Saturday into Sunday, right? Um, cold front will bring temperatures to well below normal early next week. And we show this in the 15-day temperature outlook. It warms up pretty quickly after that, though. So enjoy the warm weather. And it's not unusual for it to get colder and warmer like this. Sharp changes this time of year. So just got to deal with it, I guess. So, all right. So that's it for the forecast for Central for Georgia for today. As far as the 15-day temperature outlook, we're getting very warm here through Saturday in Central Georgia, with a sharp cool down Sunday into Monday, with highs in the 40s, right, and lows in the below freezing here, which is way below normal here. 20, maybe 20 degrees below normal for highs. Okay. And same with lows, right? The normal is about 40, 45, and the low will be 29 or so, right? And we move through the time, we move through time here, and it warms up quite quickly here towards the middle of next week, with highs in the 70s, with generally mild temperatures here for lows as well, 40s and 50s here as we go into the beginning of March. So we get to the excessive rainfall outlook here. This is the only outlook currently on the books for from the Weather Prediction Center, right? Day 5 excessive rainfall outlook. We have a slight risk up here into Northern California, in the higher terrain along the coast here. There is another current flood outlook right along the coast for today till 8 a.m., but it's not appearing on any of the graphics, so just be mindful of that this morning. So as far as severe weather, we don't have anything on the books for today other than general thunderstorms up here into the Midwest and out here in the Intermountain West and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, Arizona. This area here in Los Angeles area is not, it just stays there. You see that? So I don't know why it's there, but there's some kind of bug somewhere. But right along the West Coast, we also have a chance for thunderstorms today, all the way from Central California all the way up to the Washington State Canadian border. Tomorrow, we have a chance for general thunderstorms again along the California coast, parts of Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. And we have a slight risk of um, severe weather surrounded by marginal risk here, generally from St. Louis, Jacksonville, all the way over to Columbus, Ohio, Maysville, down to Paducah, and a larger marginal risk going up to near Chicago, Jacksonville, Illinois, Jackson, Missouri, extreme northern Tennessee, and southwest Kentucky with a larger general thunderstorm risk. So, as far as tornado risk goes, we got a small 5% risk here centered around Columbus, Indiana, Evansville, Louisville, Mount Vernon, Hillsborough, Tuscaloosa, Illinois, Tuscola, excuse me, and a larger marginal risk surrounding it, going back to Columbus, Ohio area, Athens, Somerset, Clarksville, Jackson, Farmington, St. Louis, Springfield, Bloomington. All right, so this threat of the 15% risk is driven mostly by wind here. So from the Springfield to Bloomington, all and surrounding this area here where the slight risk was. And then we have a larger 5% risk going up to the area the marginal risk shows on the original categorical. Hail, we have a 15% risk as well here into parts of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, and a smaller risk up here in the Chicago area down to northern Tennessee and the points where that marginal risk is for the categorical risk. So we're talking about the severe threat for tomorrow. One of the different models show here, which within a high resolution ensemble viewer guidance, right? This is just a slider here showing the period up to the top here. And as we get into the time frame of interest, we have a surface low developing here, some mid-level flow, mid-level disturbances moving through, right? So this is about 8 or 7 in the morning on Thursday. This is the HRRR wanting to bring some pretty intense storms here right along in the severe threat area, right? With showers to the south and to the west here, right? We get towards the end of this, and it wants to redevelop a line here further to the south. Now, we want to zoom in a little bit. Let's go to the Midwest here. Okay. See that it develops some storms there roughly around 5 p.m. and moves through. And you get some a few rotating updrafts here. So you have an initial push here off to the north, and maybe a redevelopment of the line as we get further towards the evening and overnight, right? And maybe the models are hinting to the north here the possibility of some rotating storms as well on the northern edge of this, where helicity is maximized and vorticity, right? And we go to the other models and we look at what they show. All right, so you got all the different members of the of the ensemble group here, and of all of them, the HRR is the most bullish with this convection. Okay, so why is that? Well, let's see if we can look at updraft helicity here with the members, right? Let's go through time here. Got the HRR. See why it's so bullish with that line, right? It has a lot more spin in the atmosphere here. And we can put another parameter on there as well. It wants to have some really intense storms move through that area, right? So hence the outlook here, right? For the other models, they're not nearly as bullish, especially the NAM. The NAM is this is the 12-hour NAM, which is a low resolution, right? And here's the 12-hour FE3. These other models aren't in the um, analysis here yet. So you see the HRR again, the other models, other short range, mid range cams, convective available models, right? So I would say the consensus is here that the HRR is really bullish with this, which I'm not sure is reasonable. So why do I say that? Let's take a look here at the dew points, which is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere, right? So dew points normally you want in the 50s or 60, like near 60 degrees, if you want rotating updrafts to really sustain themselves. And you don't have much instability here, right? I mean, it's dew points are in your 50s here, near 50 degrees as we get further north. Although um, there may be some vorticity associated with a warm front that could help keep updrafts going, right? But I don't know. It doesn't look that impressive to me. So let's go. Let's look at the temperatures real quick. Temperatures will warm up, but I mean, temperatures in the 60s, just near 60, doesn't really lend itself to dew points that high, okay? Although it'll be warm, I mean, we'll have to see about that, but um, yeah. So one thing that we look at too is surface-based CAPE, the amount of energy at the low levels, maybe reaching 500 joules per kilogram as we get towards the evening hours. And this shows some updrafts reaching a certain parameter space here, but overall not that impressive. Although the winds could be the biggest problem here, really. So let's take a look at that. So instead of looking at winds, I just want to look at the helicity associated with these severe storms. You got pretty really intense helicity values here, approaching 400 meters squared per second squared. And if storms could take advantage of this helicity at the 0 to 3 kilometer or 0 to 1 kilometer level, let's look at that real quick as well. Let's load. You see how it increases as we get towards the evening hours, right? And we also have a 850 millibar a low-level jet ramping up about the same time. So if the storms can take advantage of that environment, given all other factors, we could have some severe weather. But I really think tornadoes are not the most likely part of this. It'd be mostly a wind threat, but maybe a hail threat. But hail is likely to be close to, not anything to write home about. But if we get enough updrafts going, we could get some hail, But I think winds are the biggest threat here. Um, if the updrafts can take advantage of the environment and bring those winds back to the surface, right? So, and like I said, the HRR really wants to bring that to fruition here, either with a cluster of storms moving to the north here, or see if I can, sorry, bring this up again. You see, it just really wants to bring this line through, right? So, yeah, so maybe some supercells getting involved here, right? And then maybe another line developing on the south side of it. So, is that cluster pushes to the north? If it does form like it says it will here, we could get some really intense winds with this, and maybe some tornadoes. And if these storms can take advantage of the environment further to the south, especially down in this area, further away from the forcing and other things. But if they can take advantage of that environment, then we could have some tornadoes and things like that. So anyway, that's my analysis for the severe weather for Thursday. I'll talk about this more tomorrow again, but I appreciate y'all taking time to look at this and listen to me talk about severe weather. As far as data 3 to 7 U.S. hazards, we talked about this a little bit in the extended, maybe some heavy snow along the coast here, significant waves and high winds here, the 22nd through the 23rd, and heavy precip and heavy snow potential the 20th up here into upstate New York and parts of New England. High winds the 24th and 20th here in the higher terrain. Well, looks like wind gap events going on here. Heavy precip in Northern California, the 22nd to the 24th. Heavy snow the 23rd through the 24th here in parts of this here Nevada range. And in Alaska, high winds expected during these periods shown. As we go through the short term here, we got a system moving onshore out west here, right? You see it moving onshore, and we have the system going to the northeast and dissipating, right? Then we got our severe weather threat moving through the Midwest tomorrow, right? And on the backside of this, we haven't talked about this much. We're going to have maybe a swath of heavy snow as the second system moves through, right? And then out west, of course, we have some heavy rain crashing down again in the Southern California, just with unsettled weather systems push off on the coast here, right? So when we look at ice accumulation, the highest ice accumulation will be here into the upper Midwest, into New York State, and maybe in the parts of Minnesota, right? And even, I don't know if this is really valid, but I guess it is out west here in the higher terrain, right? So you see the highest amounts could be reaching quarter to and a half an inch of ice accumulation through the period here. So, so snow totals, you see where the high snow totals are. Looks like right along the Lake Superior could get 20, 30 inches of snow here to start off. Interesting setup here. And then out west, of course, out west here is going to get more snow. And towards the end of the period, we're going to have some maybe some heavy snow on the backside of this low as it moves through Thursday and the Friday, with accumulations a foot or more, right? So as we move toward the extended, we'll talk about that. Potential for a storm along the East Coast exists, but a lot of uncertainty still exists with that. So, like I said, this is total snowfall, right? Total snowfall through Friday. So I know there's a little different way of looking at it, but I think y'all would appreciate this, and let me know if you think this is a good way to look at things here. One thing I forgot to talk about was total precip, right? Through Friday. This is a map showing QPF, which means you know, in liquid form, right? So we know, like right around the coast here, we're gonna have liquid, but up here in the mountains and along the Lake Superior, in some areas in the Mountain West, we'll have frozen precip. But right along the coast here, maybe a couple inches of rain, right? All along the coast is through the period totals, right? And you see at the beginning of the period here, we have some moisture, but not overall too heavy. And then towards the end, we get some heavier rainfall um, in the Midwest and the Tennessee Valley and parts of the Southeast, and maybe parts of the Northeast corridor as well. So, and parts of the Southeast. So, but overall, at least in the short term, not a lot of heavy precip on the East Coast, exception of snow up here along Lake Superior. As we look at the data, 8 to 14 hazards, we for heavy precip, we have a pretty large area, either marginal risk or slight risk here through the period with the different dates shown here. You can see the 25th to the 3rd, the 6th, 25th to 26th, moderate risk up here in parts of Northern California, Oregon, and Washington State. Slight risk further south and along the California coast during these dates shown here. And now we have a moderate risk here in Ohio Valley for heavy precip, the 25th to the 27th, and slight risk surrounding it during that same period here. As far as heavy snow, moderate risks in different areas out west here during these periods shown, and slight risk up here in the upper Midwest, in parts of the plains, the 25th through the 27th, and in northern New England, um, New York State, the 25th through the 27th. There's just a lot of dates to talk about up here, so you can look and see what the dates are, and that's going to be pretty impactful, again, with Pacific Energy moving over the Rockies and the Sierra Nevada and Cascades, and which is good news for these areas. Moving on to the high winds. Moderate risk of high winds right along the coast here, the 25th through the 3rd. Slight risk surrounding it going all the way into parts of the plains with a moderate risk the 25th through the 1st here inside that area, all the way up into Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, right? So also into southern Alaska here. The only hazardous temps are expected up here in Alaska during this time period, so that's good. At least it won't be really cold, right? So yeah. As far as the temperatures in the extended, warmer than normal in the central U.S., south central U.S. into the northern U.S., with the exception of far northern high plains, and also along the eastern seaboard here, with unsettled weather here, below normal trending to near normal, right? And out west as well will be below normal. It looks like at least trending that way. Below normal in Alaska, above in Hawaii, and near normal to below in the Aleutian Island chain, and maybe above on the far western areas of that. As we get into March, warming up again. We saw that in the extended for the central Georgia temperature outlook, right? For most of the nation, we're near normal temps out west here and far northern tier of the U.S. with below normal Alaska, near normal to below in the Aleutian Islands, and above in the Hawaiian Island chain. As far as 6 to 10 day precip and 8 to 14 day outlook, we'll start with the 6 to 10 day. Above normal out west here, with a bullseye here along the west coast, and in the Ohio Valley, below normal in the southern part of the U.S. for precip, above and near normal in Alaska, above in Hawaii, and below to near normal in the Aleutian Island chain. We go through till the first part of March, and we stay above normal here in the Ohio Valley. Looks like a trough setting up here, and out west here, right? Excuse me. Below normal chances of precip here still hug the Gulf Coast into the desert Southwest and all of Texas, like it's been most of the year, really. Below normal to near normal to above in Alaska, below to near normal precip chances in the Aleutian Island chain, and above in the Hawaiian Islands. So as we go through the extended, this is the GFS model, and this is the 00Z run, right? So let's stop it and start off again here at the beginning. We got our system moving through the northern tier of the U.S. Let's slow this down a little bit. And that's another system just to the north. And then we get towards next week, and we have a system maybe moving off the coast here, right? Yesterday, it was depicting let me stop it here, depicting a more impactful system along the coast, likely to do with trough interactions and things like that. And so if we move 6Z, I don't think we have the latest one, right? So no. Anyway, can't do 6Z. Either way, we see the latest solution here. So still pretty far out. This is 6 days away. So we know that how much models can shift in this time period. So I wouldn't bet on this solution one way or the other, right? Um, the potential's there, but it doesn't look to intensify, at least as of this model run, until it moves out to sea, pretty much, right? Could get some snowfall here on the onset, but that's about it. Cold air kind of gets in there before this can develop. And along the west coast, to see what happens here, more snow and rain coming along the west coast. And we get further than the extended. Um, another storm right along the northern stream here, maybe bringing some heavy rain into the central U.S. and maybe another cold push as we get further out and it becomes highly uncertain. So what's the European show? So this is starting on Friday as our severe weather event concludes. Overrunning precip again in the Northeast and parts of the Midwest. And then we have this potential system into Sunday, into Monday. You see how it develops it even further offshore, right? So the trough is much further south and west. Well, south and east, right? So go back a few runs. It's closer to the coast, right? But still not that impactful, right? So let's go to a little bit further. Yeah, so the euro is kind of, let's see if we have any runs that show. It was a little bit close to the coast at one point, so there's still a lot of variability here. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. And so let's look at the AI guidance real quickly here. AI GFS. See if we have how far out we have this. I don't have it yet. So 00Z really wants to develop something close to the coast here, but very similar to the let me see if I can precipitation rate. Yeah, the AI GFS really wants to deliver a pretty potent system here, at least a 00Z run. So it wants to develop that 500 millibar trough, consolidate it further, like right almost at the ideal spot for a nor'easter here. So we'll keep that in mind too. All right. And we know out west that we're going to get some heavy precip. So um, I hate to say this, but out west it's pretty common this time of year to get these heavy rainfall events. So what's the Euro AI show here? Interestingly enough, it wants to develop a system here as well, but not quite as close to the coast, right? So it's really hard to get into details here, but at this far out, and I hesitate to do that because um, the systems that are, let's just take for example, and this will be what I'll talk about for today, but I want to go back and show you something here. So say we're looking at the Euro AI model, right? We have, this is start the period, this run. A lot of things that have to happen at 500 millibars. We have, this is Saturday, right? We got a mid-level feature here, mid-level feature here, and some up to the north here, and one here as well, and one here as well, right? So you see what happens here. We got this feature driving to the south, and this is the problem, right? We got so much time in between now and these systems developing, right? The errors with forecasts are magnified over time, right? And little variations with East Coast storms make a huge difference, and the key players in it have to work out correctly, exactly for this to take place. Not exactly, but pretty close, right? And to get all these elements correct this far out is very difficult. No model can predict this far out exactly where stuff's going to happen. So if somebody tells you it can, then they need to really think about what they're saying here. So you've got just all kind of energy that needs to interact and work out correctly for this to happen. So all we can do is look at all the models in the ensemble guidance and give the best analysis of it here. So anyway, I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll keep you updated on the severe weather and the long-term threat in the coming days.